Hi guys, it's Narelle Cook from Canine Ceuticals, and if you have been struggling to get on top of your dog's chronic ear infections, then I highly recommend you join me for this week's Thursday's Thought. So this week we're looking at how diet might influence the risk of otitis developing later in life in our dogs. So otitis, an ear infection, mainly treated with flushing and antibiotics and antifungals. But the authors of this paper wanted to look at what else might be going on that's influencing whether your dog gets an ear infection or not. So look, some of the main reasons for otitis development in dogs are allergies, atopic dermatitis, food hypersensitivities, autoimmune and endocrine diseases. And then what normally happens is then that leads to like a secondary yeast or bacterial infection. But there's something called the developmental origin of health and disease hypothesis, and that suggests that early life exposures, especially early diet, during those critical periods of development, can actually modulate developmental programming via epigenetics. This then influences the early microbiome, that then influences the immune system, and all of that will determine a dog's susceptibility to disease later in life. So really important, what we do at the beginning in terms of how that influences the longevity and the health of our dogs. So they looked at data between 2009 and 2021, so a decent time period. There was thousands of dogs that were included in the study. So if we jump down to the results, so the prevalence of ear infections or otitis in this study group was nearly 28%, so that's a lot of dogs. This is a great table. It shows the breeds most susceptible to ear infections. So we'll link this paper in the comments so you can download it and see where your dog might lie and agree or disagree. Because I must say I was surprised that German Shepherds were quite a way down the list based on the emails that I get from German Shepherd owners. But what they found in this paper is that the pre- and postnatal dietary patterns had an absolute significant impact on the development of otitis in dogs later in life. So firstly, they found that if there was a maternal history of otitis, there was an 8.4-fold increase in the risk of developing otitis later in life in dogs. So that's significant. And they actually mentioned that another study said that this is why it's just so important to exclude parental phenotypes, which are highly predisposed to otitis in breeding programs, to reduce the risk of this being passed on to later generations. And we also know this with canine atopic dermatitis and inflammatory bowel disease, that if there is a maternal history, your puppy is more likely to suffer from that same condition. So really important when you're buying a puppy that you do ask about the health of the mother. So there's a really strong connection between canine atopic dermatitis and the development of otitis. So otitis was seen in 83% of dogs with canine atopic dermatitis in one study. Another study, 68% of dogs with canine atopic dermatitis developed otitis. While we're dealing with the ears, like as the primary symptom, we absolutely need to look at the connection with the rest of the body and managing, why is the dog suffering from allergies or canine atopic dermatitis. What can we do to control that to reduce the incidence of ear infections developing? So what they found in this study in terms of diet, that the consumption of a non-processed meat-based diet by the pregnant mothers and by the puppies during puppyhood, so from 2 to 6 months of age, that was significantly associated with a reduced risk of later developing otitis, compared to when mothers and puppies consumed an ultra-processed carbohydrate-based diet. That was linked to a significantly increased risk of developing ear infections later in life. So basically, a non-processed meat-based diet, that's raw meat, raw organs, raw meaty bones, raw fish, raw eggs, low percentage carbohydrates. So in this study, I think it was like just under 5% total carbohydrates, high percent of protein, high percent of fat, compared to the ultra-processed carbohydrate-based diet. So just think of kibble, basically, which had much lower levels of protein and fat, but 50% total carbohydrates. So that's quite a significant difference. And kibble is based mainly on grain. So, wheat, corn, oats, barley, rice, potato starch, and very little animal-derived proteins. So what they're saying is it's really important that we look at what's happening to a fetus in utero. So even before a puppy is born, what the mother is eating is influencing the development of organs and tissues and the immune system. So they're saying that, now that we know this, the appropriate selection of the maternal diet during pregnancy has a profound effect on the health and the immunity of the offspring, and the types of food that we choose become crucial. So other studies have shown that when dogs are fed a raw food diet, that they have greater microbial diversity, and we know increased diversity is linked to better health outcomes long term. And by contrast, the consumption of high carbohydrate diets have been found to lead to increases in gut dysbiosis, inflammation, and gut permeability, so increased leaky gut. We also know that reduced microbial diversity is linked to poorer health outcomes over time. And human studies have shown that they highlight here that, when there's less microbial diversity, it was associated with greater severity of atopic eczema in infants. So absolutely the same thing can be happening with our dogs. So what they recommend based on these study results is that the consumption of a non-processed meat-based diet should be at least, more than 25% of the dog's whole diet, whereas the consumption of an ultra-processed carbohydrate-based diet should be less than 75% of the dog's diet. And it's highlighted here really nicely graphically. So non-processed meat-based diet on the left, ultra-processed carbohydrate-based diet on the right. So the more of a species-appropriate diet you feed, there's a significantly reduced risk of developing ear infections. Conversely, the higher the percentage of kibble that you're feeding your dog, there's a significantly increased risk of developing ear infections, basically. So there you go. That's so interesting. It's amazing that they've done that research and that more and more of that research is now being done. So if you are shocked or surprised by those results, and because your dog is on a kibble diet, or you're about to get a puppy and the breeder has it on a kibble diet and is going to give you a bag of that, and you're not sure what to do, please reach out to us at info@canineceuticals.com.au. We're absolutely here to help you. We also have the consultation service, which you can access via the website. So if you've got a lot going on that you're really not sure about, that's probably a good way to go. But like I said, we need to just not focus on the ears. We need to think about, everything else that's going on with the dog. So if your dog does suffer from atopic dermatitis, our PEA Plus has been clinically shown to significantly reduce the symptoms of canine atopic dermatitis due to environmental allergies in dogs. So that would be a really strong recommendation. We do have our allergy bundle, which if this has been quite a chronic situation for your dog, would probably be a good place to start. We also have the ultimate gut bundle. We know that gut health plays a significant role in immune function as well. So, and then other things like, the mushroom elixir is great for strengthening the immune system. The organic super greens have been shown to reduce the incidence of food intolerances, particularly the spirulina in the super greens has been shown to help with that aspect as well. So lots of things that we can do to support your dog. To get you started, you can jump on the website, go to the resources tab. We have a great digestive health guide. We've got an allergy guide. There are blog posts, there are podcasts, so lots of information to help get you started. But like I said, if you're not sure of your best next steps, please email us at info@canineceuticals.com.au. So thank you for another week of Thursday's Thoughts, and I'll see you next week.